Hey, what up everybody, it's Showtime, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be explaining my perspective and opinions on this whole Black Lives Matter movement. Now, if you've been watching my videos all the way up until this point, and hopefully you keep watching, wink wink, you'll understand that I explain stuff from a very unbiased perspective, or I try to do that in the best way possible. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So since I'm not really social media savvy, I'm not always on Twitter and I'm not always on Instagram, and you're probably thinking I'm lying because I'm making a YouTube video, and on top of that, at the bottom of the screen I always have my Instagram. I'm practically saying I have not been following this whole Black Lives Matter movement in its entirety. I don't know when it began, but whatever the case may be, since I don't watch television or the news, I'm going to pretty much give my synopsis on what it is. I pretty much saw it surface when this whole shooting of like Tamir Rice and Sandra Bland and Eric Gardner got choked out. So in my opinion, based on the information that I've gathered, this whole Black Lives Matter movement, I feel as though it was created in retaliation to the police brutality that was enacted upon black people unjustly. And notice I use the word unjustly because me personally, I'm all for what is right. I don't care if you're white, black, purple, red, green, polka dotted, whatever color you may just so happen to look like on the outside. If you are conducting yourself in a manner that is endangering not only your life but the lives of other people, and you are clearly in the wrong for doing whatever you're doing, and you're acting very disrespectful towards authority and authoritative figures who are supposed to be there to keep the peace, notice I said supposed to be there to keep the peace, then you deserve whatever comes to you. If you're acting very belligerent and very pugnacious or whatever the case may be, then you deserve to be apprehended by any means necessary. Now, I know y'all see the trend of like everybody posting Instagram, Facebook videos and YouTube videos of people who are, of course, black, and they're getting apprehended by a white officer. Now, to be honest, for the people who are on the opposite side of the camera who didn't see what happened prior to the time of that camera being cut on, we can only go off of what we see. We don't know what happened prior to the man or the woman in the video being apprehended. For all we know, that man or woman could have slapped the cop in his face, spit in his face. They probably tried to grab his taser or grab his gun. We don't know what happened prior to that camera being cut on. So we have a very blurred perception of what's going on. And seeing that these videos are only like 30 seconds or 15 seconds, and the whole interaction that happened was probably a 10 to 30 minute interval, you're really limited into what you can do as far as judgment is concerned. Not saying that everybody in these videos are automatically guilty or non-guilty. That's why we have the court system for that. And sometimes they're kind of jank at what they do, but that's a whole nother subject. But I'm pretty much saying that we don't know who's in the right and who's in the wrong because we only get a 15-second video of a 10 to 30 minute type of interaction. I feel as though people are using this whole Black Lives Matter movement to make black people who are clearly in the wrong and clearly disruptive and clearly disobeying the law, make them just no matter what. Because I believe just because the individual who was wearing the badge just so happens to be a white male and the person being apprehended or being restrained is a black person doesn't necessarily mean that that is a racist act. Now, do some people who wear the badge who just so happen to be white commit racist acts? Yes, I'd be a fool to say that it doesn't happen. But I'm saying that just because you have the scenario of a white officer and a black person who is being apprehended, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's racist. I honestly believe these people are swiping the race card way too many times. They take it out their wallet and they're swiping it so many times that they're over their head in debt. You can't use the race card in every single situation. You have to use the logical mind that God has given you to evaluate each and every situation. As I previously pointed out, black people do seem to be using the race card a whole lot more now, seeing that the Black Lives Matter movement has really started. But let's not get it twisted because white people do as well. So why did you shoot him, deputy? Well, because he kind of had the facial features of a gorilla. He looked very, very domineering. He looked very, very strong. He looked like he could potentially overthrow me. He was 6 feet tall. He was very, very dark, about as dark as my shoe, sir, and I just had to shoot him. Where was he as far as in radius and in diameter to you? He was about 20 feet away, and he didn't really have a weapon, but I felt threatened. The biggest problem concerning this whole Black Lives Matter movement, in my opinion now, is that people are joining ignorantly. They don't know what the cause really is for. They're just joining it because it's trendy and it seems like the politically correct thing to do, or it seems like the right thing to do. Hey, I'm black, so let me just go ahead and join this whole Black Lives Matter movement. And they're ignorant concerning what are the rules and regulations and the principles that the movement is founded upon. I hate to use this analogy, seeing that I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, but it's like you're jumping in the Kool-Aid and you don't know the flavor. And then you have the radicals of this movement saying bump the police and bump all white people, and that all white people are bad and all white people are devils and all of that kind of stuff. And I honestly believe that is very ignorant. Not every single person who is Caucasian or has a lighter skin tone than you poses a threat to you and wants to kill you and hang you by your neck. You need to get that out of your head, because that is not the way to do it. And plus, if you have that mentality, that means that you're living in fear. If you have fear that anybody who is white or anybody that wears a badge is white has your worst interest at heart, you're living in fear, and that is no way to live. And me personally, I believe these radicals is who is giving this whole movement a bad name. Because I remember, I think it was about like a year or so ago, this man killed 2 white teens in honor of the Black Lives Matter movement. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I believe that not too long ago, a black man killed some police officers. The movement is not about killing police officers. It's about protecting innocent black people from unjust police brutality. That's what I feel as though it is. And when people come into the movement and they don't know exactly what it stands for, they don't know the base of the movement, then they pretty much give everybody who was a part of that movement a bad name. But in conclusion, me being the person that I am, I'm just an advocate of what is right, what is just. I don't care if a movement called Asian Lives Matter were to spring up, a movement called White Lives Matter were to spring up. The shoe was flip-flopped. If it was a black officer who was killing white teens, or black officers with the badge were killing white teens, I would feel exactly the same way, and my perspective would be exactly the same thing on this whole matter. And I'm gonna say this too, I personally believe that if you are white, if you are Asian, if you are black, I don't care what race you are or what nationality or ethnicity that you are. If you are a part of a race, study your race. Find out who you are as a person. Understand where you came from and why you have certain ways of thinking. There is nothing wrong with being proud of your race and being proud of who you are. The only problem that really comes in is when you start saying that your race is superior to all of these other races, or that your race is better than all of these other races. When you start talking like that, that's when it becomes a problem. But as long as you're not saying that other races are inferior to yours and you're just proud for being who you are, there is nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. So that wraps it up for this video. If you truly like the content presented in this video, please like, share, and comment on the video. And if you truly believe that you're interested in the videos that I'm doing, please subscribe by all means. And if you want me to talk about anything in the future, just hit me up, put it in the comment section below, or you can add me on Facebook and message me, or you could just DM me via Instagram. And like I said before, it's SHOWTIME, your favorite rapper and favorite person. And if you ain't authentic, we ain't conversing. Till next time.
I'm telling you, there's a whole lot better go and tell the truth. Got bars of the whole jail cell is proof. Knock you out, then I go ahead and bail the tooth. To the crib that you're staying at, lay you flat lying, saying you banging scrap, face the fact, aim attack, I'ma go ahead and shoot.